I got a bad feeling about this.
So welcome to the first ever Hey Ed live. This is, history is being made. This is my inaugural live stream. Once in a while, I'll put my glasses on and check out comments. So if you want to make any comments, please put them in the comment section. And if you don't mind, give me a thumbs up. Let's wake up the algorithm and see if we can get the algorithm to push out the live stream a little bit out there. I'm probably going to be doing these live stream events on a fairly regular basis now, because as you guys know, that when I do my videos on my presentation, and I am going to have another prepared video out this afternoon. People only see the final 10-minute product or 20-minute product, but I probably worked on it for 2 or 3 days. I think about what I want to talk about, then I organize it. Now, most times, I do not actually have a script when I'm doing my videos. I know the topic that I want to cover, and I research some facts and figures, and then I just kind of talk into the camera, and then I edit it down to a manageable time for my audience. Now it's a live stream, but this is, I have nowhere to hide. Okay, I can't edit out my ums. I've got to put a little more thought into what I'm saying, probably. But on the live stream, you're going to get the raw Ed Anderson. I cover a lot of things that no one else covers on my channel, and I am pretty passionate about a lot of these topics. And the reason why I'm going to start doing these live streams is to give my audience a chance to interact with me. Tell me, what you think about what I am saying, and I want your opinions. I want your criticisms. I want to hear from you about live, because when I'm doing the videos, I do get comments, and I love it that when you guys comment on my videos. Please always do that if you can, and give me a thumbs up if you can. But in the live stream, it gives you a chance to get a response from me, in real time. So I'm actually looking forward to these live streams. I'm not quite sure yet. I've got to find my sea legs with this, right? This is my first time out, and I'm sure I'll get a little more polished over time. But as you guys know by now, I'm not the smoothest talker in the world, but my content is always pretty good, I think. I've been right on an awful lot of my predictions during the past 2 years on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to put my glasses on so I can read the comments so far and see whether there's anything. So pardon me for putting my glasses on. Still can hear you now. All right. So thanks, Mets. And hey, Crypto Carlo, good to see you, man. Thanks for checking in. And Dwayne, I don't know whether Dwayne is still here or not. We got 7 people. This is my very first ever live stream. I didn't give any kind of notice on this. I gave it like a half-hour notice. So I don't know how many people are actually going to show up, and I don't know how much the algorithm is going to push this out for the general public. But this will serve its purpose as a learning experience for me. I'll figure the rest out, as I go. All right. So the topic that I want to get into today it's going to be a follow-on to the video that I'm actually going to be posting later today. So please keep an eye out on my channel. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. Please hit the alert button and give my videos a like if you don't mind, because you might not think that your like matters very much, but it really does. The algorithm puts an awful lot of emphasis on those likes. It really helps to push your videos, if you have likes. And just because you like me doesn't mean that I'm going to be sending you emails or anything. That's not going to happen. I never email anybody unless they want me to, unless they request me to reach out to them. So it doesn't cost you anything to hit that like button, and it does really help to support my channel quite a bit. So if you don't mind, always hit that like button. Okay, how many people we got so far? We have, looks like 6 at the moment. Okay, so it looks like I already lost a couple people. I got to think of sexier way to keep people, involved in the channel. Okay, so the topic that I wanted to cover about, okay, it's the topic of the day, and that's what's going on with the banking system and the U.S. dollar. And the reason why I want to get this message out, because I'm still worried that most people are not paying attention to what's happening to our currency. And you really have to start reducing your exposure to your banks. If you haven't, I think most of you have, at least if you're a regular member to my channel, especially if you're in my WhatsApp group, chances are you have reduced your exposure to your banks. Do me a favor, for those of you who are watching me right now, if you have reduced your exposure to your banks in some form or another already, could you give me a 1? And if you plan on reducing exposure to your bank, could you give me a 2? So in the comment section, if you've already reduced your exposure, give me a 1. If you plan on doing it, give me a 2. And I think that now, just so you know, I'm in America, so my fiat currency is the US dollar. So when you hear me speaking, most times I'm gonna default to talking about the US dollar, right? But a lot of things that I mentioned about the US dollar also applies to your fiat currency, unless I'm talking about the dominance of the US dollar, which is a big theme of mine right now. Now, if you're in a different country, if you're in Ireland, like Metz is, you might not think that the fall of the US dollar is no big deal to you because you're not American. Actually, it does have a big effect for everyone in the world, and I'm going to tell you why. As the world stops using the US dollar as their world reserve currency, these dollars are no longer going to have to be held at these central banks as reserves. And that's true with our treasuries. So as these countries, as these other central banks start sending these US dollars back to our shore, back to America, and they start selling US treasuries, thereby also bringing those dollars back to our shores, that's going to drive up inflation. That's pretty much the definition of inflation. That's why all this massive money printing that we've had going on around the world for the past couple of years during that big worldwide flu that we had is so important. And that's what's led to inflation. Don't be impressed by these people in these expensive suits with fancy degrees from fancy schools. I swear to God, these guys sometimes they go to these fancy universities in order to learn how to be stupid. So do not put the faith into those people that a lot of people seem to do it. Don't do it. Don't believe these guys. Don't trust these guys. They don't have your best interest at heart. But I think we have a real risk here of hyperinflation hitting America. And if it hits America, okay, if America catches a cold, the rest of the world gets the flu, right? So if hyperinflation hits in America, it's coming to a neighborhood near you, and that I don't know. I'm trying to think how can we avoid it. A lot of you who've been watching my videos, I've called a lot of these major issues with the banks now for more than a year, and I've been warning you guys. What's my 3-point recommendation to everyone? Number 1, reduce your exposure to the bank. Number 2, put some of that money into gold and silver. And number 3, establish streams of passive recurring income. There's a reason why I gave those recommendations. And I told you what those reasons were all along. And I gave you, and my prediction, they came true like a charm. I've been nailing it. So I do know a little bit about this stuff. I worked on Wall Street for almost 30 years. I know the lingo. I know, when Talking Head is on TV giving me his pitch, I know what he really wants to say. And I know that half the time, what he's saying is not really what he thinks. He's got an agenda. And it's important for you to know what that agenda is, or at least that they do have an agenda. And it's not to look out for you, okay? Your government is not there to help you, okay? So there's no one coming to the rescue. The only one who's going to help you is you. You got to start taking care of yourself. So I'm going to put my glasses on and check the comments, see if I've missed anything yet. Okay, Metz gave me a 1. Good job, Metz. Yeah, I know that you've done a good job reducing your exposure to your bank. Excellent, good work. And yeah, so please keep the comments coming if you don't mind. And again, if you haven't given me a like yet, please give me a like. It helps with the algorithm. So that is why I do these videos. That's why I have my channel. Is I'm on a mission to kind of help people to prepare. Now from my point of view, the expertise that I have is more financial, right? I've done videos before talking about the importance of having, lots of fresh water. And I'm a big prepper. You want to have lots of fresh water, lots of food, because inflation is not going away for one thing. And in the event that, I don't know whether any of you have seen, there's this TV series on HBO right now called The Last of Us. And they had a marathon on it, yesterday on TV, and my son and I were watching it. It's one of those dystopian TV series, right? End of the world type thing, zombies and all the rest of it. It's and it's what you think, the most valuable guy in the room is the guy with a gun. Okay, the next most valuable person is the person who has food, and water. Right? It's a constant struggle for food and water. And have you been doing that? Have you been stocking up on your food and water? Rob Bress and I have talked about this theme a lot over the year. The idea that it won't take very long for our societies to fall into chaos and to turn into that dystopian world. 30 days without electricity, and we're going to be in the Stone Age. It won't take very long at all. I mean, how many people out there do you think actually do have a 30-day supply of food and water? Okay, what are they going to do when they can't put gas in their car because there's no electricity to run the gas pumps, or they can't get water out of the tap? Because when water pumps go down, you can't get water. Do you have your 3 or 4 or 500 gallons of fresh water stored away somewhere? Do you have a Berkey water filter in the event? Do you have your spaghetti and spaghetti sauce and your cheeses and your canned food? Do you have all of that? And do you have any of these guys? Do you have it? Do you have any gold and silver? No, this is the only actual money in the world. Everything else is literally garbage. Everything else is literally just pieces of paper. They're not backed by anything. And what's going on right now throughout the world, we are seeing we're seeing the demise of fiat currencies everywhere. And if you haven't started taking steps right now to give yourself some actual money, listen, let me explain something to you. When you acquire gold and silver, you're not buying anything, right? All you're doing is transferring your assets from a really bad asset class called fiat currencies into actual money, into an actual asset class, gold and silver, and you don't have to be rich to do it. I'm in a program called 7K Metals. I know a lot of you on this call are also in 7K Metals, and good for you. For those of you who are in my WhatsApp group and you have not gotten into 7K Metals yet, we need to talk. We need to get you signed up. That is my favorite way of acquiring gold and silver for a whole host of reasons. But listen, whether you use 7K Metals, and join my team, or you find another way of doing it, you got to do it. You got to start. Listen, you can always convert your gold and silver back into fiat currencies whenever you want. Right? It's gold and silver. Okay, it's very easy to convert it back into your fiat currency. But let me ask you, what would you rather sock away for, in a shoebox for your kids, for 10 years from now? A box full of your fiat currencies or a box full of silver and gold? I think we all know the answer, right? Look, fiat currencies, in addition to everything else, it's a depreciating asset. With inflation, it's going to go down in value every single day. I give an example recently in one of my videos about, I use myself as an example to prove a point. So I was born in 1960, all right? So there you go, mystery solved. And I did some research, and the average car back then went for about $2,800, the average brand new car. And silver and gold back then was going for $34 an ounce. So if my parents had set aside the equivalent in gold that it took to buy a car back then, I think it would have worked out to like 78. Yeah, I think 78 ounces of gold to buy a new car. Well, if they took a 78 ounce and instead of buying a new car, they put it in a shoebox and gave it to me, and assuming I didn't sell it along the way, and I still had it today, well, those 78 coins now would be worth about $150,000. So not only would I be able to buy a nice brand new car today, I can buy two very nice brand new cars today. Okay, well, over the same time period, cash has gone down by an additional, 45%? Since 1913, the fiat currencies in America, the US dollar has lost 95% of its buying power. 95%. So if my parents had taken that $28,000 to buy a new car and put it in a shoebox, okay, I would, the buying power on that money would be 95% less today versus the gold. I think you get my point, right? Gold and silver, they've been around for 4,000 or 5,000 years as a barter item and as actual money. With fiat currencies, fiat currencies have a 100% failure rate. Every fiat currency that has ever existed has failed. Period. That's a true fact. Now, the US dollar is the longest lasting, and it is currently the world's reserve currency, but that is going away too. So as the US dollar loses its world reserve currency status, this world is going to change because we might hang on to that superpower status, but it's going to be diminished quite a bit because a lot of countries are going to start using alternate currencies to do transactions, like the digital yuan or the Russian ruble or whatever this new currency is that they come up with. All right, I'm going to check my comment box real quick. Okay, nothing new. So it's so important that you do steps right now because we are going to wake up one day. Now we had a big shocker a couple of weeks ago. Well, 3 weeks ago now, when SVB Bank went under. And remember what was my prediction during the year? Is that when the next financial crisis comes, it's going to come fast, and you're not going to have time to get your money out of the bank. And there's a reason why it happens that way. They have to do it that way. They can't do it slowly. They cannot slowly announce, oh, the bank is in trouble. No, when the news comes out, it's all at once. They can't give you a chance to pull your money out, because if they give you a little bit of a chance, a little bit of a warning, there'll be a run in the bank. So, so that's why these events happen quickly. Now, my prediction was that Credit Suisse was going to be that brand name bank. Now it turned out to be SVB, so I was off by one bank, because the next week, what happened? Credit Suisse, man. Credit Suisse dropped a bomb. Well, actually, I think I was actually still right, because where the deposit base at SVB Bank was around $186 billion, but the deposit base at Credit Suisse was over $1.5 trillion. So the real big dog in that news cycle was Credit Suisse. Now I think Deutsche, and I also said Deutsche Bank, I thought was in really big trouble. My really big prediction has not come to fruition yet, but I think it's going to. That is the one. That's the one that it's the nuclear bomb in the financial industry. And I've done lots of videos on this topic where before anyone else would, other videos are starting to talk about it now, but I was talking about this, a year ago. And that is these credit default swaps, these worldwide derivatives. There's $1 quadrillion in derivative exposure in the worldwide community. 1 quadrillion. Just so you know, that is 1,000 trillion. More than's ever been in history. Now, if you harken back to the 2008, 2010 financial crisis in that period, what was blamed for the crisis were these credit default swaps. If you haven't seen the movie The Big Short, watch that movie. Okay, and they explain it very, very well in that movie. But the level of these credit default swaps, which were the cause of the last financial crisis, is bigger now than it was back then. So these banks have either not learned their lesson, or they're just plain greedy. I think they're just plain greedy because because they were bailed out last time. I think all these big banks right now, the die has been cast. These guys figure that they can do crazy stuff and get away with it because the government's going to bail them out. Why? Because they're too important. They're too big to fail. right? So the government is always going to be there to bail them out, and we're going to pay the price. When Credit Suisse was bailed out, the stats are that the average Swiss citizen's tax bill for that bailout was $13,800. Man, woman, and child. They had to pay. They're out of pocket another 30. They didn't do anything wrong, but that's what's going to cost every man, woman, and child in Switzerland for that mistake. Right. So these bankers, look, these guys are crooks. You should not trust them. If you trust your bank, I don't know what more I can tell you. You know, I've been pounding the table on these banks now ever since I started my channel, and I think a lot of people are now starting to wake up. You know, but if you think your money is safe in your bank, you're wrong. It is not. And if you think that you're covered with FDIC insurance, again, you are not. Again, I've done videos on this, but just to remind you, the balance sheet as of like a month ago at the FDIC was $128 billion. But they're responsible for $9 trillion of eligible depositors' assets. So $128 billion to cover $9 trillion. When SVB Bank went under, along with Signature Bank and, well, what was that other one? The first one, it's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, when those three banks went under, they ate up 30% of the on-hand assets that the FDIC had. 30%, boom, done, just between those three banks. All right, but now those were tiny. SV Bank was the 16th largest bank in the country. Yeah, that's pretty big. You know, I'll grant you. But when you look at J.P. Morgan, okay, so the amount of derivatives exposure in so J.P. Morgan, just so you know, has over $53 trillion of exposure to the derivatives market. Now, derivatives are a leveraged industry, like usually 10 to 1, 20 to 1, right? So it doesn't, if you're wrong just a little bit, it can wipe you out. So let's say that these derivatives that JP Morgan has on the books has a bad day, and collectively they lose, say, 10%, just 10% of their value. Well, what's 10% on $53 trillion? Over $5 trillion. I don't care how big JP Morgan is. Okay, that's gonna, look, if it doesn't wipe them out, that's gonna hurt. Okay. I mean, these numbers at some point, they just get insane. They just get ridiculous. If you don't mind, guys, if you haven't given me a like, please give me a like. How many people we got? Okay, we got 11 people watching. I've seen it pop up and down there. So thank you all for being here. This is my very first ever live stream, the very first ever Hey Ed live stream. So I'm making history here, and you are part of history. Please put in the comment section. Please let me know what you think. Let me know what your opinion about what I've talked about so far. Am I completely off, or do you agree? I'm gonna put my glasses on and check the comments to see if there's anything I've missed. Marcia's here. Hey, Marcia. And Sonia. Nice to see you, Sonia. Ollie, the owl man, the owlster. How you doing, Ollie? Thanks for being here, man. Okay, so again, this is my very first ever Hey Ed live stream event. All right, so let me get back to the doom and gloom. Everyone always loves a little doom and gloom on a Sunday afternoon, right? And again, just remind you guys, since this is this is a learning experience for me. I've got literally a 15 second delay between when I talk into the camera and when it shows up on my screen. So that's why I muted it on my end, so I don't hear myself. I'm not talking over myself. So I am talking to the camera, and I'm just flying by the seat of my pants here. So this is a weird kind of a phenomenon for me. Usually when I'm on a Zoom call and I'm with someone, you know, it's live, but this is so bear with me. Just enjoy my squirming, okay? This will be a little entertainment for you. you can see what not to do when you do your own live stream. But back to the doom and gloom. Okay, so not to be professorial with all of these numbers and charts and figures, I try to give people just enough facts and figures to make my point, but my bigger ambition is to paint a picture for you so that you can make proper decisions about what you should be doing right now. Now, it's a fact that less than 1%, I'm sorry, less than 1/10 of 1% of the entire world population own any of this stuff. Almost nobody owns actual gold and silver. So if you want to become part of the 1% in the world, all you have to do is buy one silver coin, and you are automatically in the 1%. That's one way to look at it, right? But if you're not starting to acquire gold and silver, you're really, I mean, I don't know what else. I don't know what else I can do to make the point to you that when things fall apart, when the U.S. dollar, when your fiat currency, when your coin of the realm starts losing its buying power, through inflation, what options do you have? You don't have any. Okay, you have to have a hard asset. Really, the hard assets everyone talks about, fleeing to are either real estate, silver, or gold. That's it. Those are the three. Personally, I don't like real estate because there's a whole lot of risks involved in real estate. And when the next big financial crisis comes, real estate is going to go along for the ride. Whereas gold and silver have a really good shot of actually moving up in value. And when that big financial crisis comes and inflation is going through the roof, and you want to sell your hard asset to buy groceries, what are you going to sell your house to buy bread? I mean, with gold and silver, right? Especially silver, you can get it in smaller. Now you're going to have a means of surviving, a means of barter, and you know what? You'll get a chance to pick up those luxury cars and those pieces of real estate real cheap. Why? Because you maintained your buying power by having these guys. All right. And again, I'm not talking about the rich. Everybody should be doing it. Okay, so last week I did a couple of videos showing you how I bought some gold through my 7K Metals account, and I documented it. I showed you I bought it and I recorded it so you guys can watch how I do it, how simple it is. And then I did another video showing you the unboxing of that gold coin. See, where is it? I have it around. It's in the drawer here. It's one of these guys, right? It just so happened that I bought enough of gold to get an actual, full ounce. But if I wanted to, I didn't have to spend $2,600. I could have just spent 50 or $100 buying gold, with that money. I can buy it fractionally. Okay, so it's not just for the rich. Think of gold and silver as an alternative to your garbage fiat currency. I want everyone right now to think about what you have in your wallet or in your sock drawer. I know you got it. I know everyone's got a little fiat currency in your sock drawer, and you should. You want to have some cash. We are still a fiat-based world, right? But that with inflation, those fiat currencies are a depreciating asset. Would you feel better if you had some of that fiat currency, that garbage fiat currency, in actual money, in silver and gold? Again, what would you rather leave a box full of to your kids? A box full of cash or a box full of silver and gold? Okay, I want you to bear with me a second here. I'm going to put on my glasses so I can check the comment section to see whether I'm missing anything. No, Drew, hey Drew, thanks for commenting. I appreciate that, man. Good to see you. Geeky Fox, that's Andy. Hey Andy, good to see you, man. You're bang on from what I see. Thank you, man. Nice of you to say. You're spot on. Thank you, Matt Hatter. Thank you, Marsha. And Fritzy Henny, agreed. Okay. Metz, Rafe, can brokerages go bust? Yeah, sure. Why not? Can brokerages go bust? Sure, they can go bust. Now, on that topic, so brokerages, they have a different kind of insurance, right? They have a SIPC insurance, SIPC versus FDIC. But they're financial institutions, and these brokerages, listen, there's been a lot of talk lately about the exposure that Charles Schwab has to the money market industry. They have over $7 trillion. Now, these brokerages and banks, let's back up and talk about, this isn't really a rabbit hole. This is Rafe makes up a really good point, and it gives me an excuse to emphasize this point. The catalyst for the debacle we've had recently in the financial markets were the Federal Reserve and interest rates, right? The Federal Reserve have raised rates at the fastest rate in history. Now, the level of opportunities have been higher in the past, but the speed at which that they increased rates is the most dramatic in history, even more so than back in the Paul Volcker days. Now, you have to understand that bonds have an inverse relationship with interest rates, right? As interest rates go up, the value of bonds go down, and that includes your most conservative bonds, like U.S. Treasuries, right? And the further out the bond is, like 30 years, the more sensitive they are, the more dramatic the moves are in that. And so a lot of these banks, they thought they were doing the right thing, actually, right? They said, well, we have all this extra money because of the worldwide flu we had a while ago, and they had all that money coming in, people getting their stimulus checks, and they put it in the banks, and the banks couldn't put it out fast enough in forms of loans. So they took all that excess money, and they thought they're doing the safe thing. Yeah, you know what? We'll buy 30-year U.S. Treasury bills. Well, as these interest rates have been going up, courtesy of the Federal Reserve, the value of these bonds have been going down. So they've been losing money on United States freaking Treasury bills. And that was a big issue with the SVB Bank, with all these banks. When you're talking about the numbers that we're talking about, just a little bit of discrepancy, a little bit of downfall in any one of these areas can have a devastating effect on the balance sheet of a bank. Well, brokerages have been doing the same thing as banks, to answer your questions, Rafe. So yeah, there aren't any financial segments out there that are immune from what's going on. Whether it's directly or indirectly, they are all affected. All right. So you cannot rely on your bank. You can't rely on your brokerages. You cannot. The only thing you can rely on is you. And in my opinion, the only thing you can rely on are gold and silver. You're listening to a guy here who had almost 30 years of experience on Wall Street, most of that as a trader and as a trading instructor. So I'm a guy who loves trading. I'm a guy who loves the stock market. Okay, I love trading. And here I am preaching the idea of gold and silver. There's a reason I'm doing that. So I want you to appreciate, the magnitude of what I'm saying. If Ed Anderson, if Ed Anderson's best pick at the moment is gold and silver, then that's something to be paying attention to. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love trading, and I think everyone should think like a trader. Even if you're not actively trading, you should think like a trader. Traders have huge advantages over investors. We are in a trader's market. This is not an investor's market, by the way. This market is toast. I won't go down that rabbit hole here. I'll do that on another live stream. That'll be a fun one, so look out for that. That's why I'm in programs like Daisy FX, which is a trading platform, right? Now, it's not going to be a commercial about Daisy. I'm just trying to make a point. Now Daisy is a trading platform. So rather than me trying to trade every day, I just farm it out. I just hire out Daisy. I let them do the trading, and I don't care whether the market goes up or down, because traders don't care which way the market goes. That's one of the biggest advantages that traders have over investors, is that traders can make money in any kind of a market. All that a trader really wants is volatility. Okay, as long as he's on the right side, he'll make money. So, and we are in a volatile market. It's going to become much more volatile, trust me. So in programs like Daisy, with their track record, I've been in Daisy now since April, and I'm on the FX side, all right? I'm Daisy since April is up over 700%. I've done videos on Daisy. I'll let you guys. You can go to my channel, and I've got a whole playlist, on Daisy and 7K metals. So you guys, when I'm referencing these programs, just check out the playlist, and you look at it more deeply. People, I think, should be looking at programs like Daisy that are trading centric, okay, with massive returns. Now, they are on the aggressive end, right? So you do want to just use risk capital. You don't want to put money, you don't want to put your mortgage money into it. This is, a program like Daisy, you're going for it, but it's okay to take a risk. The world was, that's how mankind progressed, was by taking a risk, right? But you do it responsibly. You do it with money. You do it with money that you can afford to lose, that kind of thing, right? So we have two different kinds of categories I'm talking about here, right? Gold and silver is about keeping you afloat, keeping you. But look, I'm going to take that back a little bit, because look, the primary purpose of gold and silver, the primary purpose is to act as a safe harbor in periods of chaos, is to maintain your wealth, maintain your buying power in periods of severe, inflation. However, gold and silver, like I talked about earlier, does have periods of time where it appreciates in value quite a bit. And I think that in this next financial crisis, gold is going to do both for us. It's going to act as a safe haven, and they're going to appreciate quite a bit, in value. Okay, so the primary reason you buy gold and silver is to maintain your buying power. So while inflation is going up, you're not getting hurt. But as a secondary benefit is you can actually make a nice profit on it. Now, with programs like Daisy, man, we're going for the profit, right? That is just flat out, you're going for it. And you really should be, you didn't think about doing one or the other. You really should be doing both, right? Because you don't want to just keep a status quo. You want to get ahead in life as well, right? So you do want to step up a little bit. So, and that harkens back to my 3-point recommendation on the Head YouTube channel, right? I'm sure you all know it by heart by now, right? Number 1, reduce your exposure to your bank. Number 2, put some of that money into gold and silver. And number 3, establish streams of passive recurring income. And I can help you. Okay, so bear with me while I put on my glasses and check the comment section again. I think I missed a few. So Ray, hey Ed, I'm trying to sell options for a living or extra income, and so far going well using a hands-off approach and not going into weekly and short-term stuff. Correct in my thinking? All right. Gold futures and options, or gold and future. Where's it at? Okay, Ali, I got into 7K today thanks to Mets. All right, Ali. Good job, Ali. Glad to see you. Welcome aboard to 7K. And Mets, you couldn't pick a better sponsor than Mets for a 7K medal. She's going to take care of you, really well. Good job. But Rafe, coming back to your question there. Okay, well, options versus the real stuff in gold and silver. I'm a big believer in, you should own the physical silver and gold. I feel pretty strongly about that. You can do the options if you want, but with the options, just like with anything else, there's not a whole lot of room for being wrong. You have to be really right. And I just think that even though I think the gold and silver are going to have their day in the sun, they might not. Okay, there are forces out there at work to keep the prices of gold and silver depressed. Right, it's a rigged market. There are real scam artists, real criminals, and I'm talking about big time criminals like freaking J.P. Morgan. These guys. 8 people were convicted, had felony convictions over rigging the LME market. I'm sorry, the COMEX market, just last year. But they still do it. So it's I don't think that when you're swimming in the options market with the exchanges, you're competing against the big guys, and they know the game, and so the odds are against you. Now, you might be really talented, you might be really good, and far be it for me to tell you not to do them. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just one guy on YouTube giving an opinion. Personally, I think you're better off just owning the gold and silver. If you want to go for big returns, go for something like a Daisy, and just let Daisy do the trading for you. All right, let me move on here. Okay. What about crypto? Okay, I'll talk about that in a second. Okay, Drew, Ali, we should rely on crypto more than crypto, right? Right. Isn't Tesla like the new GameStop? So would you pick one stock such as Tesla and trade that? Rafe West. I'll come back to that. Rafe, but isn't crypto the new digital gold, like Ethereum? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, all right. So a few good things. I love it. You guys, look, I can tell right now, this is my very first live stream ever, but I can tell right now that I'm going to love this. You got to bring up some excellent questions. So let's go back to Rafe's question there about, let me remind myself. I'm trying to choose some. Okay. We should also have more on crypto now instead of fiat. Well, all right. This is kind of a tricky one, right? Because, okay, remember that cryptocurrencies is a misnomer. Okay, they are not really currencies. The only actual cryptocurrency in the world is Bitcoin. Okay, it is the only actual, it's the only thing you could actually consider a cryptocurrency. All right. Everything else is, but there is that asset class. Listen, I promise you, not financial advice. I'm just a guy on YouTube, right? But my strong opinion is that when all is said and done, about 90% of all existing cryptocurrencies are going to be gone. Okay, they are not going to be around. So you have to be in the right 10%. So you got to pick the right ones. Let me throw an interesting stat for you. About a year and a half ago, the entire market cap of the crypto space was a little over $3 trillion. That is nothing. Okay, I mean the forex market trades what, about $7 trillion per day. In the as market niches go, the cryptocurrency industry has never been very big. I mean, at its peak is a little over $3 trillion. Right now, it's I think it's a tad under 1 trillion. It got down to about 600 billion. I think it's still a tad under $1 trillion collectively throughout that entire industry. So because it's such a small industry, it is always going to be more volatile than the other industries. Because when you have a small number of shares to build, they're much easier to push around. So the smaller the coin and the smaller the industry, the bigger it is to push around. So, which is very good for trading if you're a disciplined and nimble trader. Okay, if you want to play that game, go with God. I hope you make a lot of. You might make a lot of money doing them, but you want to think of we're talking about trading now, right? So if you're going to trade, you better freaking learn how to trade. You can't try to trade something while thinking like an investor. Okay? If you're thinking like, now, what I mean by that is the investor mindset is buying and holding, right? They buy and hold, and they're convinced that someday they're going to be right. Okay, well, that is not trading. That's not even speculating. That's flat out guessing. That's flat out gambling. If you're going to trade, whether it's crypto or anything else, learn the rules of trading. Okay, so if you want to trade crypto, yeah, you go for it. But I think that we are going to be in a crypto winter for a long time. I was predicting this crypto winter before Bitcoin collapsed. I showed you the charts. If you go back and look at my charts, you can see, and I was right. Okay, and I said we're probably going to be in a crypto winter, and it's probably going to last a long time. Well, we're still in it. We're still in a crypto winter. When you have this kind of technical damage done to an industry, it takes a long time for it to recover. Think of it like getting hit in the face by a professional prize fighter, okay, a heavyweight professional prize fighter, okay? You're not going to just spring off the mat. You're going to need time to recover, okay? You might try to get up a couple of times, but then you're going back down, okay? So, and the crypto market has been hit in the face by a professional prize fighter. So it's going to take a while for it to have a meaningful, it's got to rest, okay? So my opinion about cryptocurrency industry is that most of the coins are going to be gone, and we don't know which ones are going to be the survivors. So we may as well just wait, or hire an outfit like Daisy, which does have a crypto. Let them figure it out. If you think that you want to have exposure to the crypto space, the trading environment, rather than figuring it out by yourself, have them do it. You're not going to beat them. Okay, you might beat them in performance in any short given, but in the long term, you're not going to beat them because of their. Okay, I won't get again. This is not meant to be a commercial for Daisy. I'm going to be doing live streams about Daisy, so stay tuned on those. But my opinion is for most people, because most people don't have the discipline or the skill to trade the market, consistently. Well, they get lucky from here, here and there, but they're not, anyway. So anyway, let me move on. I'm spending too much time on one. So let me move on here. Should I have more in crypto now instead of fiat? Okay, I think I answered that. No, actually, I think those are bad. Those are bad choices. You should be relying on gold and silver instead of fiat. Crypto, I don't rely on at all. Crypto, I don't trust. Okay, talk about that. Rafe, what do fundamentals even matter anymore? And the stock, hey, amen, brother. Has the stock market changed forever? Rafe, you're right, boy. You tee that up for me. Fundamentals do not matter. Fundamentals have never mattered. Okay, fundamentals don't matter. Anybody who tells you they do, they're wrong. Okay, there's only one thing in the world that makes stocks go up and down, and that's buying pressure. Period. End of story. If there are more buyers than sellers, it goes up. More sellers than buyers, it goes down. That's it. Why people are buying and selling, I don't give a flying squirrel. And I can see the buying and selling in the charts. So learn how to read charts. And these days, this is a very headline-driven market. All right. And the headlines usually come out after the market closes. Right? So again, you got to go, if you're going to be trading, you got to approach every day individually and separately. Okay. Rafe, isn't Tesla like the new GameStop to you? I don't have an opinion on Tesla, really trade that and run the real strategy. And but look, bear with me a second here, guys. I think we've gotten behind here a little bit. Crypto Carlo, hey Rafe, I am an option seller. Work the wheel. I sell naked puts and covered calls. Why? Yeah, Carlo, Crypto Carlo does have a big background in options. And Crypto Carlo, I'll tell you, by the way, is real big into Daisy. So that should tell you something. So this is a guy who loves options trading, and he doesn't do it anymore. He just lets Daisy do his work. All right, Rafe, is it realistic to replace a modest income through trading? I mean, realistic. Okay, I'll talk about that in a second. But when they print money that isn't the catalyst for a bull run, even short term, it could be. Yeah, it could. Go to Carlo. Possible, realistic to make money to trading. But like Ed said, discipline is the biggest part of being successful. You very much need to be glued to your monitor. AI trading is the answer. Amen, Carlo. Okay, and Crypto Carlo. If you focus on trading, you will make money. Okay. All right. So these days, when people ask me my opinion about how to learn how to trade, my response these days is, why? Why bother trading? Because, and listen, I'm a guy who loves trading. I was a freaking trading instructor. But these days, with the advent of technology, and I started in the industry in 1987. So I've seen several evolutions in the world of trading. And these days, with the advent of artificial intelligence layered on top of trading bots, layered on top of technical analysis, you're not going to beat these guys. Now, it just so happens that Daisy is a pioneer in that field. And of all the trading platforms out there, Daisy, I think, has the best shot of doing the trading for you. Why? Look, trading, if you want to learn how to trade, I don't know how experienced you are, Rafe. It sounds like you do have some experience. And if you do, you know that trading is not something you learn in an afternoon. This is an ongoing, experience, an ongoing education. And for the vast majority of people, it takes quite a bit of time to find your trading skin, is what I call it, right? I can teach someone academically how to trade in about 90 minutes. But as it turns out, that's not the hard part. The hard part in trading is figuring out your own personal skin. What do you like to trade? What's your risk tolerance level? And it takes time, because everyone might think that they know what their risk tolerance is, but they don't really, not until they get in there. And the whole learning process, it takes time, and it's usually very expensive. Okay. Well, with an outfit like Daisy, it's a professional trading program with artificial freaking intelligence. Okay. And I'll tell you, now I've been in since April. Since April on the Forex side, the return has been over 700%. Okay. Now, there's no guarantees. It's just like with any trading platform. I'm not going to guarantee it's going to do another 700%. It could, it might do more, or it might do less. But I'm very confident in saying that for most people, they're not going to beat Daisy, at least not consistently. So why not just let them do it? It's a very simple proposition, right? You buy some tiers, you put your money in, they trade it, and it's a 70-30 split. They take 30, you get 70. Now, there's a lot to that program. Again, I've done lengthy videos about Daisy, and I'm going to be doing live streams about Daisy, so keep an eye out for those. But if someone out there who's looking into trading, for most people, look, if you enjoy the academic exercise of trading, okay, fine. That's one thing. But don't, for most people, if you think you're going to be making a living at trading on an ongoing basis, yeah, you could. There are plenty of people who do it. But you know the kind of stress they had to put themselves through in order to get to that point? And they've got to keep it up. Okay, yeah, okay, so you might have made money last month. Now, the following month, you're starting at zero and you got to do it all over again. It takes a toll. Ask anybody who trades for a living, they'll tell you, it takes a toll, okay? You don't often get a good night's sleep, as someone who trades for a living. And I know that you know what I'm talking about. Okay, well, guys, you know what? That was, y'all give me a thumbs up. Okay, so this was my very first live stream. I had no idea what to expect. And so please forgive me if I ramble a little bit, or if I stuttered too much, or, because I'm getting used to this 15-second delay on the feed. But I do plan on doing more of these. I'm hoping that they'll become more polished as time goes on. And I am going to cover different themes. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Please hit that alert button so you can see when I'm doing live streams. And Daisy, is it good, Daisy? Yeah. And for those of you who are curious about Daisy, again, I've got a whole playlist on Daisy in my YouTube channel. In the description box, I'll have my link for the Daisy program in case you want to sign up. If you want to have a personal Zoom call about Daisy, I can do that. We can talk, one-on-one. And we do Zoom presentations all the time, on Daisy, and 7K Metals too, for that matter. So those are my two top programs right now, are 7K Metals and the Daisy FX. And I'm happy to talk to you about both of them. But this wasn't meant to be a commercial about Daisy or 7K Metals. They just happened to fit the topic. And okay, so I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream. Thank you very much, guys, for hanging out. And now I got to figure out how to exit the live stream, and I don't even know how to do that. So I'm going to stop talking now. But if you see me on the screen, it's because I'm trying to figure out how to exit the live stream. Thank you very much for being here. Hey, Ed, live from Minnesota, signing out.